All right, tip number one. This is for Chelsea West Ham. 7 winning goals have been scored in the last 5 minutes, which is the most out of any other Premier League fixture, suggesting that the players who play till the end are more likely to get more points. So your Palmers, your Bowens, and players like João Pedro or Fulkrug, who may not get 70 odd minutes, may be slightly hindered by this. It also suggests it's going to be a really tight game, so don't go full on in Chelsea, captaining Palmer, keeping João Pedro and Sanchez. Expect a tight game, expect late minute goals, and yeah. Tip 2. The last 2 out of 3 Burnley-Sunderland games ended in 0-0 draws, and the only third game that had goals ended 1-0 Sunderland, suggesting it's a tight game where defenses usually do better. So it's a good thing to aim for those defenders like Esteve and Ballard and expect the game to be really tight and no team to really run away with it, because the teams don't want to lose, so they don't really throw everything at it. I expect a 1-1 draw, to be honest. Tip 3 for Crystal Palace Forest. Crystal Palace have never beaten Nottingham Forest, making them the team they face the most without winning, suggesting it's a tough game for Palace, even if they're looking good. And I suspect a very tight encounter, maybe 1-1, 0-0, so don't go too much into their assets. Tip 4 is for Arsenal Leeds. Arsenal have won the last 17 out of 30 games against Leeds, scoring 4 in 3 of them. And actually, in the last 5 encounters, Leeds have scored in every game but 1. Suggesting there are usually a lot of goals, and Leeds do normally get on the score sheet. So even though Arsenal have the highest percentage chance of a clean sheet in terms of betting odds, I suspect a big win for Arsenal, but also a goal for Leeds. I'm going 4-1, so don't fully bank on the Arsenal defense. The last unique tip is for United Fulham. United have won 25 out of 35 of the last meetings, but in the last 4, they'd only scored 1 goal, suggesting United usually struggle from an attacking point of view against Fulham. Fulham usually handle them well. Although United are looking fresh with a new attacker, so we'll see how that goes. All right, now it's time for the team review ahead of Game Week 2. I was really happy with Game Week 1. I really hope Game Week 2 does the same. But honestly, I'm a bit more nervous for this because of the fixtures we have. But we'll go through the team and discuss my thoughts on the team and what I think will happen, what I hope will happen. So in goal, I've got Raya. Still massive game week for him last week. He got 10 points. High scoring keeper. Really enjoyed that. But the only problem is, as I discussed, Leeds tend to score against Arsenal. And these teams that play on the counter-attack against us, they tend to nick one. So like these games where we expect to have the clean sheets, we normally don't. So I do hope Arsenal keep a clean sheet for the sake of my FPL points. But I would not be surprised at all if we manage to concede one. So that's my expectations going into that based on the past, based on how I know Arsenal will play the game. But I'm sure Arsenal won't concede much XG. So I expect Ryan not to get that many save points. So we'll probably end up on a 2 or 1 pointer. But considering he got the 10 points from last week, I'm pretty satisfied. And best comes to best, he'll end up with 6. So we'll see how that goes. But on paper, very good fixture. Defense, the first one we're going for Nico Williams. Obviously, I spoke about Palace's poor record against Forest. But I also spoke multiple times before how Nico Williams is the best defender in the game. And I still stand by that, because even though he did not get DEFCON or attacking returns in his first game, he does get DEFCON in most of his games, 57%. And his attacking threat is definitely there with the assists and goals. He played 1 dangerous ball in the first game, but it didn't really work out. And against Palace, if we see a 0-0 affair, we could get points, even a 1-1. But I don't think it's the best fixture on paper. But you never know where the clean sheets come, and this could be a game where the clean sheet just happens and maybe he gets an assist as well. So we trust, you pick the right players and hopefully they get the points. Next to him is a bit more of a worrying one. It's Frimpong. Obviously pay a premium of 6 million for him, and he gets subbed off a minute before the clean sheet. A minute. So this is not obviously the best fixture. It's going to be, I reckon, a high goal scoring fixture with both teams really going for it. Newcastle have a high press. Liverpool play very progressive play, so it could be a really high scoring game, so not the best for defenders, but maybe this could allow Frimpong to get an attacking return. It could possibly be, and if he does get attacking return and maybe get subbed off 60 this time, not 59, then we could get a big haul and then Newcastle score after. So that would be the dream scenario, but we don't get what we want. But I reckon he's a good keep. He has the potential to haul. Liverpool should be a decent defense. Next game week is not the best, but it could still turn out well. Next to him is Ait Nouri. This is a more interesting one because Ait Nouri had a very good game week 1. But I've spoke about in my game week 1 preview that I thought he was kind of average. But average is in that he didn't provide that attacking threat that I bought him for and people bought him for. Because he played that 3-back system where he was getting his defensive work more than attacking. And in the end, he did get something like an assist. He got 9 points. That was really good. But the problem to look out for Ait Nouri in the future, especially if you own him, is his starting spot is not guaranteed. Because if Gvardiol had started that first game, it's very likely that he would have played instead of Ait Nouri. Because one sec. It's very likely that he would have played that starting centre-back role because it fits his role perfectly, that centre-back role. Whereas Ait Nouri, no, it suits him better, that attacking role, that attacking fullback role. So it makes sense why Pep would want him. He wants him because he prefers him attacking to Gvardiol. So in those games where they play a 3-back, they'll have Gvardiol there, left back instead of Ait Nouri. And those where they play attacking, which I suspect they'll play attacking against Tottenham, he'll get that left back spot. So I suspect he will be a good pick for next week. He'll be very attacking. However, I don't think City will keep a clean sheet. They might, but I don't think they will. And moving forward, he's a slight concern just in terms of minutes. But for now, as a keep, he's looking good and hopefully gets points next week. In the midfield, we got firstly Palmer, obviously. Had a poor game week one. Many people disappointed with how he played in general. That was the worrying thing because you pay so much for him and he just disappears the entire game. But I spoke about it. I think he played so poor because Crystal Palace played the game really well. They overloaded the midfield with good defensive midfielders, Hughes and Wharton, that they didn't give Palmer the space and ability to play his game. But I feel with West Ham, they're less likely to sit deep in, and rather kind of play the game with Chelsea. Whereas Palace kind of sat back, absorbed the pressure, overloaded the midfield, didn't get Palmer, João Pedro on the ball because they know they're the danger. Whereas if we see with West Ham, especially last season when they played Chelsea, they left the middle of the park really open, failed to really read the game well, didn't sit back, kind of kept a high line, and they really suffered on the counter-attack. So I think he's a good pick for this game against West Ham. Obviously, I said it would be a tight game, but he's Palmer at the end of the day, and he give him a bit of space, give him that chance, and he'll score. So I think he's a decent pick for this game. Not a captain, in my opinion, after what he did last week, but definitely a keep. Next to him is another person who was really poor last week, is Wirtz. Obviously, many people are already thinking of going off him because of his performance in the first game. Like, they scored 4, he wasn't involved, really didn't get any good chances, not really the best XG. But I think this is definitely a game where he could go and score. I reckon we could have a high-scoring game here, Liverpool-Newcastle. And I think Wirtz could get involved, because people underestimate how much we should take from game week 1. Yes, it was a full 90 minutes of Wirtz and we saw how he played in that Liverpool system, but he could completely change the way he played in one game. Like, he could be a completely different, more attacking player in the second game, and he could end up getting returns. So I'm excited for him in this game. It will be a Monday night kickoff, and hopefully, I'm sure a lot of owners are hoping they won't let him down, because if they do, there is a little slight, not an issue, but a little slight maybe thought to take him out of your team because there are so many other good midfielders and he is quite pricey, but we'll see how we play and we'll move after that. Next to him, I got Kudus. Had a really good game week 1, but I thought, I was watching an FPL channel, he made a really good point that Kudus's chances, his XG, came really from crossing positions. He wasn't really in there shooting as often or at all. He was just going down the wing, taking on people and crossing it in. So that's not the best for expected goals. It is for assist. But in FPL, you always want those players that are getting the goals because you get more points for the goals. So a slight concern. And I think he got 10 points, but it was Burnley at the end of the day. Put in 2 crosses, beautiful finishes by Richarlison. But when I look at the City game where Tottenham are probably going to play a 5-back and have 2 up front, he's probably going to be that leading striker alongside Richarlison, play like that Mbeumo role where he played last season, got so many points. So I'm excited to see him there. I think that could be really good for him. But moving forward, if he does play on that winger role, there is a concern to move him on. And if I would move him on, I'd look at someone like Mbeumo. If I were to move on Wirtz or Kudus, I would look at Mbeumo. I thought he looked fantastic in game week 1, and he could be a very suitable replacement for either of them, because I have slight concerns on them. But we'll see. I think Kudus could get points this week, but moving forward, that very wide role, I'm not too sure about. Next to him is a player I'm very happy with, is Cody Gakpo. Not only did he get points, not as much as Kudus, but he played very, very well. His overall game was really good, really attacking. He accumulated the most XG in that Liverpool game. Very unlucky not to get more points. And I think now against Newcastle could continue his form. And if we look at, example, Luis Diaz, who played on the left wing position last season, he started the season really, really well. And people are like, oh, he's going to stop now, he's going to stop now. And I feel like Gakpo is going to be one of those players where if you don't hop on him soon enough, he's just going to keep scoring. You know, he's on form, playing for one of the best teams in the league. What else can you say? He's got his left wing spot nailed, especially it's looking like Isak is unlikely to come to Liverpool. So he's got that spot nailed. He's playing well, playing for a very good team. I think the points are just going to keep coming. So really happy with this, especially in the long term. This game, hopefully he continues to show people why they need him and get me some points. Next to him is another slight concern. It's Pape Malang Sarr. He got the assist against Burnley. Played really well, close to defensive contribution points, but I obviously spoke about how he's not exactly playing that cam role. The only positive I can see from this is that Eze's move to Tottenham isn't really moving as fast as people want to. So Malang Sarr will get more of that opportunity to play on that cam role. But obviously when I look at that City game and I've got four players playing, 2 Tottenham, 2 City, I'm a bit nervous on how it's going to play out. But there's no need to rush at this point. I mean, at the same price, I've got Dewsbury Hall, Xhaka, but what you would want to move them up to is a 5.5, Reinders or Anderson. So I'd need 2 game weeks to do that at least. So he's a keep in my team. I think he could be decent. He could get an assist, defensive contribution. So he's a keep for now. But then come game week 2 and 3, he could be a serious person to go out of the team. But for now, he stays. Next game after that, he has Bournemouth at home. So I think also a decent fixture. So maybe he stays for 2 more. But let's see what role he plays in that 5-back system. Because against PSG, he played that 5-back system. He was the furthest forward of the midfielder. So let's see how it goes. But he's a keep. And then up front is the 2 main men. Gyökeres against Leeds at home. I think this surely has to be the game where he gets the points. Like, you got the second game of the season, his home Premier League debut, a team that just came from the Championship. Surely their main signing, the main man that has to hit fire, scores in this game. It seems almost inevitable that he has to score in this game and that he will. But what I hope is that he does get a brace at least, you know, like kind of rewards the people who backed him a bit more. So that'd be nice to see. And I reckon he could. Really good game. Obviously, he didn't play too well against United, but happy to keep him for now. Watkins also got a very good fixture against Brentford away. So that's the worrying bit about it. But we'll see who scores more points this week. I'm on Gyökeres and I hope it works out. The other striker alongside him, of course, is Haaland. And this is our captain for this game week. I would say every year, if I saw Tottenham at home for Haaland, I'd be so happy to captain him and so confident to captain him for that game. But when I look at how Tottenham are going to set up and how Thomas Frank plays against the big 6 teams so well, I'm a bit more nervous for it because Tottenham are also going to go with 5 at the back. So you've got 3 men marking Haaland. They looked very defensively solid against PSG. And Thomas Frank knows how to play the big teams. He's shown at Brentford that he knows tactically exactly how to play against the big teams and how to do well against them. So we got to hope that Pep is cooking something and he knows how to kind of get City more creative, allow them to be more creative than PSG did in that game. But the only positive I can think of in the PSG game, they did cross the ball in a lot into the box. So as long as Haaland can get his movement right, we could get a couple of goals. So hopefully it works out. That's the starting 11 on the bench. I've got Dubravka, Estev, Mark Gui and Goodmanson. Obviously Goodmanson ended up getting 9 points, but obviously not going to start against Arsenal. Mark Gui not going to start. He's not a starter anyway. And the 2 Sunderland defenders, not Sunderland, Burnley defenders, are a shout, obviously. It could be a shout, but I'm not going to play him instead of Raya. And when it comes to Estev, I don't trust him ahead of any of my 3 defenders. Only potentially Sarr, but the more I talk about Sarr, like he's very likely going to play that attacking role against City. And he has the potential for defensive contributions as well. And in my opinion, I think that game will end 1-1. I think both teams will score. So it's not a bad idea to play him if it suits your system, suits your team, but it's just not what I'm doing. So this is the team. I don't think I'll get as many points as last week. I mean, hopefully I do. I might do. But hopefully we still stay in. It's a good week. Another like green arrow would be nice. And that's the team.